Have you ever felt like there's a hidden pattern to the universe? Something that connects, well, pretty much everything. From the way atoms bond, to birds flocking, all the way to how you're even having that thought right now? Well, stick with me, because today we're pulling back the curtain on a fundamental principle that really does shape our entire reality. So where do we start? It all begins with a really simple observation. Something so common, so basic, we almost never stop to think about it. But believe me, this one little idea is the key that unlocks everything else we're going to talk about. And here it is. It's just this: similar things like to be near other similar things. That's it. This single, simple rule for units that are alike to attract and cluster together, it's honestly one of the most basic, fundamental drivers in the entire universe. And you see this play out everywhere you look, right? Birds form flocks, mammals make herds, insects create swarms, and of course we humans do the exact same thing. We cluster together based on our interests, our beliefs, our backgrounds, you name it. But this simple act of clustering raises a much deeper question. Once these things come together, how do they actually relate to each other? And that question, well, it throws us right into the heart of one of the biggest tensions in all of reality. Are all these units, these things, fundamentally separate from each other? Or are they all just part of one continuous, connected flow? You can think of it like a cosmic tug-of-war between two opposing forces. On one side, you've got discontinuity. This is all about separation, clear boundaries, static forms, what we usually call things. And on the other side, you've got continuity. That's all about connection, flow, and dynamic processes, what we'd call actions. Absolutely everything that exists is caught in a constant dance between these two. You know, humanity's own understanding of this dance has evolved over time. We started out by seeing the world as just a collection of separate, static objects. Then we had this big shift where we started focusing on motion and processes instead. And now, well, modern science sees it as an inseparable blend, where structure and dynamics aren't two different things. They actually create each other. And I want to be clear, this isn't just some weird niche idea from physics. This fundamental tension, this push and pull between the separate and the connected, is a central theme that pops up in almost every major field of human thought. From philosophy to pure mathematics to chaos theory, everybody is wrestling with this exact same puzzle. All right, so we've seen this pattern out in the universe. But now we get to the most mind-bending part. We're going to take this whole idea and turn it inward to explore the world that's happening inside our own heads. So here's the big one. Does this cosmic battle between being a distinct thing versus being part of a connected process, does that also define how our minds work? The answer is a huge yes, but with a really fascinating twist. Okay, get ready for the twist, because this is the key. Physical things like, say, a rock or an atom are primarily defined by space. They have rigid boundaries. You can't have two rocks occupying the exact same space at the same time. But mental units, our thoughts, our memories, our feelings, they're defined by time. Their boundaries are fluid, like streams. And not only can they overlap, they absolutely have to. And this leads us to an incredibly powerful way of thinking about consciousness itself. See, maybe consciousness isn't a thing at all. Maybe it's the result of this unique ability of our minds to let memories of the past, perceptions of the present, and ideas about the future all overlap and mix together into a single, continuous stream of awareness. Okay, I can hear you thinking, how is that even possible? How can thoughts overlap when rocks can't? To get our heads around this, we need a bit of a weird but really cool metaphor, the idea of a worm-like unit. Let's break this down. First, I need you to stop picturing a unit as a little static ball. Instead, imagine it's more like a worm or a stream flowing through space-time. Now, in the physical world, these worms are kind of stiff. They keep their distance from each other. That's what creates stable matter. But in the mental world, inside our brains, they're super flexible. They're like streams of water that can flow alongside and even through each other, mixing and mingling, but without ever losing their original identity. And the amazing part is, this worm-like idea isn't just a fun thought experiment. It's actually backed up by what we see in neuroscience. For example, what's called phasic dynamics shows us that our thoughts literally expand and contract in rhythmic waves. This waveform continuity is crucial. The brain's natural oscillations are what allow a memory and a current perception to overlap without just turning into a jumbled mess. It all happens with a space-time skew. Our thoughts stretch across physical brain networks. That's the space part. But they unfold through these timed cycles of brainwaves, and that's the time part. What is just so cool is that this deep, fundamental logic is baked right into the way we speak. Think about it. Nouns, they represent the separate, distinct, disconnected things. And verbs? Verbs represent the continuous actions and motions that connect them. Our very grammar is built on this ancient tension between separation and connection. So let's zoom back out for a second. We've seen this pattern everywhere, in nature, in science, inside our own minds, and even in our language. So what's the end game? What's the ultimate point of this whole cosmic dance? Well, it seems the universe's ultimate goal isn't to push towards pure separation or total connection. The real driving force is a constant search for balance. Everything, everywhere, is always trying to find a stable, ordered pattern, a perfect equilibrium between being a distinct individual and being part of a larger flow. And this drive for balance is precisely what creates order out of chaos. In the physical world, it gives us beautiful, stable structures like crystal lattices and molecular bonds. And inside our own minds, it's what allows for stable thought patterns and the consolidation of our memories. It's the universe's fundamental organizing principle, both inside of us and out. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What if we started looking at everything differently? Not as just a collection of static objects or as a chaotic mess of actions, but as a constant universal search for that perfect, stable geometry, the perfect balance between being a thing and being a process. What changes for you when you start to see the world that way?